He's a criminal's worst nightmare. A cop who enjoys the danger.
No guns, no jujitsu, just bring him down.
Do you really want to jump? Well, then that's fine with me. Come on.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait a minute. What the...
He was ready to retire. Now, he's gonna wish he had.
Raj, meet your new partner.
New partner?
Too old for this.
Don't kill anybody. Don't kill anybody.
Suppose we better register you as a lethal weapon.
You ever met anybody you didn't kill?
Well, I haven't killed you yet.
Do we have an intro for this? Did we figure out our intro?
No, we just sort of stumbled into it like idiots the last time.
So that's what we're doing this time.
Just a bunch of fumbling assholes slapping each other's dicks together in the dark.
Mm-hmm. I think like half of our intros are us asking if we have an intro or if we can remember what the intro is.
What the intro is.
Yeah. So yeah, hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Worst Cops Ever.
Worst Cops.
Worst Cops, episode 2, guys. This is a what we're rewatching the Lethal Weapon movies, and we're sort of just looking at them as cops and not as heroes.
Right.
Although looking at them as heroes is also troubling.
Right. Neither picture is particularly flattering.
No.
Yeah, this is kind of like this is a special miniseries we're doing. It's kind of like a sister show to Fox Mulder's A Maniac, because we're basically doing the same thing. We're just looking at how terrible Riggs and Murtaugh are as police officers in the Lethal Weapon movies, and the answer is pretty terrible.
Yeah, and special thanks to our Patreon producer, John Ryman.
For sure.
Yeah, for making it all happen.
Yeah.
Johnny. Are you listening?
He probably is.
It'd be weird if he wasn't.
Yeah, it'd be weird if he just like, no, I want this to exist, but I never want to hear it.
No, it's part of my kink.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to know this is out there. So we're up to Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah, and all the movies just got added to Hulu if you have Hulu, so that's good.
Yes, because Lethal Weapon 2 was not on Amazon.
No, I had to rent it to the PlayStation Store when we watched it earlier.
Yeah, but folks, if you have Hulu, you're good to go. You're good to go
Hulu,
with this
you're
podcast.
All set.
The first episode we did was already establishing them as being pretty fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
But this is kind of, because this isn't Shane Black, right?
No, this is Jeffrey Boehm.
All right, and this is when things get sort of out of control, I believe.
Yes.
Because I think what it is that the first Lethal Weapon this is the bit. The bit is they're cops, but they're out of control. Specifically, Riggs.
Yes.
Is out of control. And like a lot of movies and a lot of series, as you go, everything becomes a copy of a copy of a copy. And like the message gets diluted, I would argue. Unless you're like paying, you're paying a lot of attention. But it's sort of like we were talking about that series Ip Man, where it's like the first one's kind of grounded and then they go slowly crazier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that, right? Is that everything becomes like a caricature of itself as it goes on?
Yeah, it becomes very cartoony.
Yeah. And so this is one step removed from that original movie, and therefore just a little bit wackier.
Yeah, it's
I would argue.
It's pretty bananas. Like we did with the first one, in the first episode, we're gonna run through a brief plot description of the events of Lethal Weapon 2. So, basically, Riggs and Murtaugh uncover a huge drug smuggling ring that's headed by this Dutch diplomat. He's a Afrikaans, I think. He's from South Africa. So they're all very racist and very Dutch. And they're smuggling drugs and something to do with Krugerrands, which we'll talk about that.
Yes, we will.
It's hard to discern what exactly the bad guys' plot is because Riggs and Murtaugh never actually uncover it.
No, it's
much like the first
again,
one. They do very little investigating.
Yeah, it's very much just like, yeah, bad guy.
Right.
Clearly bad guy. I mean, it becomes very personal when it's revealed that one of the henchmen is responsible for the death of Riggs' wife.
Right.
Which is a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, it turns out that these guys have been operating for so long that Riggs was actually investigating them before without realizing it, and he was getting too close, so this guy was supposed to try and kill Riggs, but Riggs wasn't driving, his wife was, so he killed his wife kind of by accident.
Yeah, there's a lot of coincidences because I believe also their involvement with first of all, this is Joe Pesci's first Lethal Weapon, which I forgot he came into the series this early.
Oh yeah.
It's a delightful surprise. But they go to pick him up as a witness.
Yeah.
Who he just happens to also be involved in them.
Right.
Right.
They just get randomly assigned to him as to basically watch him until the FBI can get there to watch him because he's a federal witness and he's going to testify. But it just so happens that he's going to testify against these South African drug smugglers.
Right, for money laundering.
Yeah.
Does he say $500 million?
Yes.
Jesus, that's a lot, Joe Pesci.
Mm-hmm. I do like the scene where he's like, I mean, with that much cash changing hands, who's going to notice 10,000 here or 20,000 there?
Yeah.
And Murtaugh says drug dealers. And Leo goes like, yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. The some of the subplots, there's a romantic subplot with Mel Gibson and a
kind of.
Well, it gets cut very short.
Right. We're going to talk about that.
They
too.
get it on. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
The other subplot is, of course, Murtaugh's daughter in her condom commercial.
In a condom commercial. Yep.
Which I don't know. I think this would go in this section. I gotta say, Danny Glover's performance in that scene is the funniest thing in this movie.
It's very funny. Yeah.
It is one of the best fucking, because they say, I learned about it in human development. And he goes, human what? human development? And he's just so flustered.
He's such a dad.
Yeah, and then the boyfriend where he's like, I think you should leave. And the boyfriend says something, he goes, George, I got a gun.
George, I got a gun.
Yeah, and again, all of the delivery is he's so on point. This is a great movie for Danny Glover.
Yeah, he's great.
This is top Glover. Yeah.
We're just like, do I know you? Yeah, I'm George. We met last week. And did you get the impression that I liked you?
Yeah.
He's like, yes, sir, you did.
Excellent.
All right, then sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
We're going to watch this commercial.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's a brief romantic subplot. Their entire squad gets murdered.
Yep.
By the South Africans.
One of I think the best assassination scenes in cinema history, which is assassination by diving board bomb.
Yeah, they blow up Vasquez with a diving board bomb.
John Connor's stepmom. Yeah, she goes pinwheeling into the pool. I don't know how that would work, because I think that's, if you're going to assassinate someone with an explosive, you'd put it in their car, or I don't know, on their toilet.
I was thinking about that because the bombing Dean Norris's poker game makes sense, because it's you're just blowing up the house and there's a bunch of guys there. You're killing a bunch of the cops at once.
Was there a law in the 90s that Dean Norris had to be in the movie?
He's in a lot of these. He's in a lot of these.
He shows up a lot.
Yeah, this is 1989, but he looks like a cop, so he usually shows up as a cop or a military guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Shoot Hank is a cop. It's his most famous character.
Yeah, that's his thing.
But so blowing up the house they get, but they also put a bomb in Danny Glover's toilet, which is a delightful scene. And they bomb Vasquez's diving board. It's okay, the people who you're not trying to kill could trigger these bombs.
Well, as we know, one of the henchmen is very bad about accidentally killing the wrong person.
He's a bad assassin.
Yeah, he should be let go.
Oh man, he's like Krychek, where he kills Scully's sister instead of Scully.
Yeah, exactly. He's not good at this.
He's a bad assassin.
Because the diving board one, especially, the toilet, it's you could accidentally kill his kids, or his wife.
Maybe his wife is taking a shit.
Yeah. The diving board, it feels like there's a chance you wouldn't even kill anybody.
Yeah.
Because, like, you got a body of water right there. It didn't look like it killed her. It just looked like it flung her. Like,
I guess we're supposed to assume the force from the blast killed her.
Sure. But when you're in this, like, it worked out. But, like, I wouldn't automatically assume placing a bomb on a diving board would accomplish that unless it was a giant bomb, you know? Because it just seemed like it was like a weird, like, Rube Goldberg like thing. I don't know. Clearly it worked. It worked out. But yeah, that's a weird fucking place to put a bomb. I mean, creative. Nobody checks diving boards for bombs.
Nobody suspects the diving board.
Yeah. So you seem to have a better grasp at what the sections of this podcast is.
Well, I mean, we
because I have a shitload of notes.
Yeah, so we're still running through the plot.
Okay.
They kill all the squad. Riggs and his new girlfriend are thrown into the ocean. She dies. And he gets out and is in a rage now because he realizes that they murdered his wife, and he's just like, I'm not a cop tonight, Roger. I'm like, you're like never a cop.
Right. Also, I don't think you can just... We'll get into it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just announce you're not a cop. I don't know.
And yeah, they rescue Leo, who's been re-kidnapped by the drug dealers, and then they go to the drug dealer's ship as they're trying to leave for South Africa and kill them all.
They sure do. They super kill them. Yeah.
They kill them all. They dump the car and all the money into the ocean. So once again, they kill all the suspects and destroy all the evidence.
Yep.
I guess they still
100%.
have Leo. They still have their witness. So,
yeah, which,
that's good.
I mean, we can get into it. It's kind of the main thing I want to talk about. They still have their witness despite making every effort to have him murdered.
We're going to get... Yeah, okay, so that's the plot. Now we're going to get into the meat of this episode, which is Worst Cops Ever.
Yes, and I have a lot. I just want to start with that because they get a witness. I mean, I just let's take the journey of Leo. Leo is in his hotel room. He hears police open up at the door.
Yeah.
He says, "How do I know it's the police?" And the voice says, "After I shoot you through the door, you can examine the bullet.
Yep.
Open up." First of all, I don't.
They are immediately abusing Leo. Yes,
I don't think that's how bullets work, but yeah, they threaten to shoot him, and he opens the door, and it's like, well, don't do that. Yeah. And then within 30 seconds of them saying, "We're here to protect you," Leo is jettisoned out of a 7th floor window.
Yeah.
And by pure luck, there's a pool there.
Yeah. Right. They could have just died.
Riggs tackles 2 people out of that
window. Out of a window, yeah.
Yeah. And without thinking about it.
They don't bother checking the room service guy, even though they're supposed to be like, they're like so irritated that they have to babysit this witness. Right. That they don't bother to really do their jobs ever, and it ends up biting them in the ass because they leave Leo in the car and he gets kidnapped. But they don't check the room service guy when he comes in, and the guy tries to kill Leo, and like they're like so checked out of this assignment that like Leo has to wrestle with the guy's gun for like a couple seconds before they react.
Yes, which is really weird considering that the movie has established that they are so riddled with PTSD that when they hear a nail gun, they will dive to the ground and point their guns at a man who is right in front of them. Because that's what they do earlier. They are so jumpy that they almost shoot a construction worker.
Almost blast the contractor, whom they know is there. He's right next to them. And they know he's nailing things down. And they're both baffled by the concept of a nail gun.
Which I would argue does not sound like a gun. Like, there's specific guns, nail guns for concrete, I believe, that work very similar to guns. But one of those board nail guns, I do not think sounds like a gun. I think it just makes a loud noise. So they're just startled by a unfamiliar sound. Basically, they're like cats. Like, they just freak out. Yeah, so then they they take Leo around. So you have a witness now, and his life is at danger.
They've tackled him through the window into the pool, and then as they're wrestling in the pool, Riggs immediately breaks his nose.
Right.
He punches Leo several times in the face, and then is about to leave him in the pool tangled up in a curtain to chase after the bad guy, and like Leo's drowning and his nose is broken, and it's like, dude, that you're here to protect this witness. Like, what are you doing? And
then they just bring him to Murtaugh's home, I believe.
They just start, they're supposed to be protecting him in that hotel, but then once they get tackled out of the hotel, it's like, well, we can't go back in there. So they start taking him around with them everywhere they go, like a dog or a toddler.
Yeah. They just adopt him.
Right.
And it was like this. First of all, you don't know this man. Don't take him to your house.
Right. All you know about him is he's a criminal.
Yeah. Now this criminal knows where you live.
Yeah.
And you take him in and you just treat him like a sidekick.
Right.
Like they're immediately
They take him on a car chase.
They yeah. Well, again, he's a witness. He's in danger. They take him to the bad guy's house.
They take him to the bad guy's house. Yeah, they sit there and are like, no, you're not. He's not really supposed to tell them, but they're like, well, tell us what you're testifying. And he explains that he laundered money for these guys. They're like, hey, take us to that house where you met with the couriers. They're like getting involved in this case that just happens to be the same people they're looking for.
Right. Like, imagine being Imagine being a detective and or a witness, like giving, imagine someone seeing a robbery and they go to the cops and you go in the room where you're going to report it and you talk to the cop about it and the cop's like, fuck it, get in my car, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
And there's just,
let's go
you
get
just
these
drive
robbers.
to the, just drive right there and just start beating the crap out of them.
They kill one of them. Surfboard flies through his head.
Yes. Also, to back up a little bit, okay, so they break into the house because of course they do.
Yeah.
They don't announce they're cops.
Riggs just comes in disguised as the pool boy and beats the Christ out of two guys.
First question: where did the pool equipment come from?
He just picked it up on the side of the house.
Okay, but they say specifically they don't have a pool.
It might have been the house next door then.
Okay, that would make sense. That's not a big deal. But he just like again, imagine if the cop, not dressed as a cop, was like, get in my car, drove to the guy's house that you think robbed you, and was like, wait in the car, and just broke into the house. And you're sitting in the car like, yeah, I think I might need to call more police right now on this police.
Yeah.
Like,
I need to call other cops to come arrest these cops.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then he's completely exposed in that car.
Mm-hmm.
And Riggs just starts beating people up in the house.
Yep. And they get into a car chase.
Yep.
Yeah. And they go back to the house and find out that the bad guys have diplomatic immunity, which again, they do so little investigating in this film that I don't think that's how diplomatic immunity works. Like,
it's the iconic part of this movie is I think the diplomatic immunity. And I think in this universe, sure, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't think you can just walk around shooting people
and openly dealing drugs. Like, I'm pretty sure, you can't get like parking tickets and shit, but like,
yeah, I think it's like more that.
I'm pretty sure they can contact your government and get you deported.
Here's what's absolutely fascinating by that. When the guy starts rattling off the law, did you notice that Riggs knew the law?
Yeah.
He finishes it for him. Why is that?
Why does Riggs know that law? That's an obscure law.
Yeah. How many times has he had this, encountered this problem?
How many diplomats has he harassed?
Yeah.
Because that's what he spends the next half of this movie doing, is harassing this diplomat.
Yes. He just stalks him. It's Cape Fear.
Yeah.
Also, again, they broke into a house of a diplomat.
Yep.
Didn't identify themselves as cops.
Nope.
And were shot at.
Yes.
Because that's what would happen, right? Like, if you don't identify yourself as a cop, you would probably, if the diplomat is like protected. I don't know. Do diplomats have like armed guards? I assume they have bodyguards.
I assume they would have bodyguards. Yeah, they do come back to the house with the full squad to arrest everyone, and that's when Joss Ackland shows up, the big Dutch bad guy, and is like, diplomatic immunity.
Right.
Yeah. So the Ballad of Leo is a long, sad tale of criminal abuse, really.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing he gets thrown into. He didn't ask for any of that.
No.
We're gonna be jumping around, aren't we? Because I just realized that this movie begins with a car chase.
It does, yeah. Well, the movie begins with the Looney Tunes theme, which is extremely on brand.
Yes.
The reason it does that is because when this movie came out, it had like an animated studio logo at the beginning to like commemorate some anniversary, and I think Daffy or Bugs were on screen briefly to do like this, hey, it's our 50th anniversary or whatever. But like they've taken that out of subsequent home versions, so now it just weirdly begins with the Looney Tunes theme that just goes right into the Lethal Weapon music. It's very strange.
It is,
but
extremely
also
strange.
Very on brand for Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. So there they are, using a personal car for police business.
Yes. On a high-speed chase through downtown Los Angeles that erupts in gunfire, explosions, casual sidewalk driving, a helicopter that is also shooting guns, and they drive the suspect's car and Murtaugh's family station wagon through the front of a store.
Yes. Fucking Riggs jumps on a moving car, and it was like, there's no way you should do that ever. That's not police training. For a couple of things, we established this in the previous episode. This version of Los Angeles apparently has a real problem with evil helicopters showing up places.
Yeah, they just appear.
Yeah, and like they can't figure out where they're coming from or where they're going.
Yeah.
They need to figure that out. But also the whole reason police chases are the way they are. And I think a lot of movies are guilty of this.
Yeah.
But like when you watch a real police chase on the news, the cops are trying as hard as they can to minimize civilian damage and any property damage. And that's sort of why car chases like last for a while, right?
Yeah.
Is they have to kind of safely take them off the road. This is not that. This is him. They have two maniac cars on their hands because he is crashing into everything and sends them straight through a goddamn business that could have people in it. There could be people in there.
I mean, there's not, but it's like it happens to be like an after-hours antique store or something. But
right,
something I want to talk about in this episode and bring it up now so that we have it sort of like overarching for the rest of the episode is that we need to examine that Murtaugh might actually be worse than Riggs for the fact that Murtaugh is in charge.
Right, he's allowing this to happen.
Murtaugh's not only it's ostensibly in charge of Riggs, he's in charge of that entire squad. Like,
right, and he does not protect them well.
It's pretty much the captain and Murtaugh. Like, that's the order of command. And like, Murtaugh is like so checked out and so doesn't give a shit. Like, he's like a substitute teacher. Yeah. He just allows all this crazy bullshit to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it begins with Murtaugh leading this chase. Like, in his family station wagon. Like, Riggs eventually starts driving after he once again tries to chase a car on foot. He does that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He chases a lot of cars on foot. So there's this thing where he's they have like, Murtaugh has a convoy of police cruisers behind him, and they're driving slowly up this on-ramp because Riggs is out in front running on foot. And Murtaugh is allowing all of this to happen. He is in charge of this.
Yep. No, this is this is his deal. This is like,
cannot be bothered. And like when they get after it all happens, they get back to the station, and the captain is like lightly scolds Murtaugh for the fact that all the explosions and gunfire and helicopters, and they didn't arrest a single person.
Yeah. And the fact, again, they demolished an antique store. Mm-hmm. So that is a lot of money. Like, that's a lawsuit, right?
Probably.
That's a very big lawsuit.
A couple of cars explode, too.
Yeah, and then the cops are crooked because they just casually are stealing the Cougarans.
Yeah,
and
yes,
Murtaugh is just like, hey,
that's
don't
another
do this.
thing. Like, it's so they get there. Riggs is doing his straitjacket thing, which, brief aside on Riggs, he realistically can only do that scam one time, right? Because then everybody knows what the gig is.
Also, I think just doing that alone is enough to get him suspended, right? Like, if a cop in a police station did a straitjacket escape, like, I'm sure at the time people would run with it, but I feel like if that got out, or if, like, a witness saw it happening, like a civilian, like, they would get in a lot of trouble. Like, that's a really weird thing for him to do, especially when he then dislocates his shoulder, something that is, like not that casual of a thing to do.
No, it's pretty damaging.
Yeah. And it's just like, what are you doing? That is
it's just
intense.
For a couple of bucks, and he does it right in front of the department psychologist, and he calls her Sigmund Freud, and it's like,
right.
Riggs, like as I mentioned in the last episode, but as the series goes on, they progressively treat this character worse and worse, and all she's ever done is be concerned for Riggs.
Right.
Like, that's her crime, is being concerned for this guy who is clearly having a hard time.
Yeah. Well, like, that's sort of, because, like, in this one, I know Riggs has, like, cleaned up his act a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, the themes of this movie is just, like, therapists can suck it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they are just wet blankets.
Sort of like
who are
the last
stopping
one
good
where
police work.
they treated the jumper like, this fucking crybaby. And then in this movie,
exactly. Therapy is bullshit.
Yeah, fuck these clowns.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, they give him one of the Cougarans as, like, for doing that.
That's what I was getting to, yeah.
And Murtaugh is just like, hey, you can't do that.
So it's like his squad were the ones betting on Riggs's gag. And so he knows that someone in his squad paid with that Cougarand, which means, we have to establish that the car chase ended in, they found a trunk full of $1 million of Cougarans in that the suspect was driving around with. So that means someone in his squad stole money from evidence. And the most he does about it is like, hey, you can't take this as evidence. Then he puts it in his desk. And that's it. He never follows up on that.
I mean, skipping ahead at the end, because this is, I'm realizing that there's some casual crooked cop behavior in this that is just normalized as being kind of human. And, like, you sort of get it, but you also are like, Jesus. Where Riggs later, when they defeat the bad guys and they have all the money there, Murtaugh, like, or I don't know if they've defeated the bad guys yet, but he picks up some of the money and Riggs is like, yeah, you should take some.
Yeah.
And he, like, almost does. And he's like, well, it's drug money. It's not going to go to anything. It's like, well, I think the idea is you confiscate the drug money. And then I don't know what we do with that money.
It usually gets destroyed.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he should take it. But you know what I mean. That's me saying that.
Yeah.
It's very like a casual crooked cop thing. Of course, Murtaugh is like, no, I can't.
Yeah, he says it's blood money. I'm not taking it.
Yeah. But it's like, if it was,
but he thinks
blood
about
money,
it.
Yeah.
He thinks about it.
Like it came off like,
I mean,
they do this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it came off of, like, that time it was a moral thing where he's like, it's blood money.
Yeah.
And the Cougarans, he was just like, no, you can't be using these because they're very obviously evidence. But I feel like they're not against just, like, taking some money here and there.
Yeah, some of the other regular American cash in that stack was probably also stolen from evidence.
Right.
That they paid Riggs with. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I would take that. I would take the drug dealer money, but I'm not a cop.
No, I would too, but we're not cops. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that, you know, it's a weird thing to have them casually crooked in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I know why they're doing it because it's relatable.
Yeah,
it just sets a bad, it's a bad message. Because they're showing the best case scenario of, like, these guys are very bad, the money's going to be destroyed, but then it's that slippery slope where, like, if he did take it and then later he'd be just like, I'll take this too. You know what? He doesn't need this. I'll take, I'm going to go through his wallet.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if you just like if you ask people how much money they have in their wallets and they have a lot, you can legally confiscate it. What is that called? That's a real thing.
It's seizure.
Yeah. Like it just seems like it's the start of a very crooked idea, and then it's peppered throughout. It's really weird.
Yeah, all they have to do is say that they believe it was used in a crime, I think.
Yeah, or that it's suspected as like if they suspect you're a
drug dealer.
A drug dealer, or you're why can't I think of the name? Like a mule, not a mule.
A bag
I guess a mule. Yeah, like if you're transporting drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah. So Riggs basically lives at the Murtaugh house now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's cleaned up his act.
He's got his laundry.
Hanging out.
He's making dinner.
Yeah, they do the condom commercial where like Murtaugh is like
Murtaugh
he's
to shoot his daughter's
embarrassed.
boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, at first he doesn't want to tell the other guys that she's in a commercial, and Riggs tells everybody, and he looks at a picture of his daughter and says something like, "You better not stink with this crowd." And it's like, dude, lay off your daughter.
Yeah, well, he didn't say it to her. He said it to her picture.
No, but like, what a weird fear of like, I hope, like,
well,
is his coworkers or his subordinates so shitty that if she was a bad actress in the commercial, they would like, be mean?
Well, they would rib on him for sure. Yeah, they
make toxic.
They make him a condom tree.
Well, I get the condom thing because that's, you know, but like if she had just given like a shitty performance, like is he really scared that they'll like tease him for that? That's mean.
I don't know.
Like he doesn't know about the condom at that point. Although someone should have told him it was a condom commercial in general too.
Yeah,
that seems
I feel like that would have come up.
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing. Like when because he's kind of that protectiveness where when she was like, "I'm going to be in a commercial," like I feel like he'd want to know what it was and who's involved and if they're taking advantage of her.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that he was so checked out that he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, whatever. I think that's the point of the boyfriend thing, where he's like, do I know you?
Yeah.
Like Murtaugh, he seems to have a weird relationship with the fam. Also, his bathroom has is rugged.
His bathroom is carpeted. It is a carpeted bathroom.
That really concerns me.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
That was hard to watch.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's also getting a huge addition built onto his house, so maybe he is stealing money. I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird.
He has a big house, but it is the 80s.
Yeah, that's fair.
You could buy a house for like $10,000 or some shit.
Right. Just with a handshake and a nickel.
Mm-hmm, just a song and a wink.
Yeah. So yeah, they get Leo Getz.
Well, before that, the South Africans break into Murtaugh's house and threaten him. They tie him and his wife up and they threaten him.
Oh right,
and
that's after they never
really follow up on that.
No, is that after they
it is after they get Leo, because that's after they go to. Oh no, that's before.
I know it's
before they go.
It's before they harasses the guy.
Yeah, it's before they get Leo because the captain sends them to babysit Leo because he thinks Murtaugh could use a break after that happened.
The bomb happens before it, right?
No, bomb happens after.
Okay, bomb happens after.
Mm-hmm.
And they're okay, and then this is before bomb happens after. Bomb is before they break into the diplomat's office later, which is pretty illegal too.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. Riggs breaks. They create a distraction so Riggs can break into the office and beat the shit out of this guy's men again, and then shoot his fish tank.
Yeah. What happens is they create a distraction so he can go in and look for evidence.
Yeah.
All he finds is like a single piece of paper
that has a name on it, right?
Yeah, that has a name, and they catch him. So yeah, he shoots the fish tank.
Yeah.
So he's harassing.
Assaulting. He's assaulting them. He beats a couple of the guys up.
He also says to him, quote, "If you stay around here, I'm gonna fuck your ass."
He does. He does say that.
That's, I think, threatening rape and animal cruelty.
Shooting that
and
fish tank, man.
assault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of reasons he should be leaving that place in handcuffs.
That's an international incident.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these guys are racist criminals, but like,
Yeah, and he loves calling them like Aryan and shit like that.
yeah.
Which is
It's just delightful.
yeah. But still, like in the eyes of the law right now,
Right.
Riggs should be arrested, even though the bomb thing happened. I have some questions about the bomb thing, real quick. Oh wait, even going further back, do you notice they do a drive-through at Subway?
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
They do a drive-through at Subway, and they might have briefly done it.
Yeah, I mean,
the
they
80s.
must have. That weirded me out. That creeped me out. That was like the carpet.
They fuck up Leo's order, and they refuse to get him more food. It's like,
Right.
it's just continuing the abuse of Leo.
Right. There's also a theme of people not liking tuna in this because his kids do not want Murtaugh to eat.
Yeah, that
tuna
was.
earlier.
I think that was Richard Donner. Like he
okay.
he put a lot of Free South Africa in his movies too around this time.
Yeah.
So it's like that we were just finding out about like the dolphin safe tuna and stuff around this time as well. So
Right.
he was just putting shit like that in his films to
So
get people aware of things.
yeah, no, why not?
Yeah. But yeah, there is the tuna stuff. If you don't know that was just getting found out in the 80s, seems a little like, man, people are hating on tuna in this movie.
Right. So Riggs finds out that Murtaugh didn't come in and they haven't heard from him.
Yep.
So he goes to his house and he hears him calling up, I'm up here.
Yeah.
So he breaks his door open and takes out his gun.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a weird reaction, I think. For that. And then he's sitting on the toilet and there's a message on the toilet paper.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, how much poop is in that scene?
A lot.
'Cause
he's pooped.
He's already pooped,
He's
right?
pooped. He's been there for hours.
Yeah, and he hasn't cleaned up because the toilet paper's intact.
Right, yeah, he's just sitting there with a poopy bum.
Yeah, that's gross. Do you think he flushed
Yeah,
at
the
least?
poopy bum. I'm probably afraid to flush.
Yeah, it's
Might
weird.
trigger the bomb.
Yeah, you're right. That
So
might
he's
trigger
just
the bomb.
sitting there with a cauldron of poop and a poopy bum.
That's real gross.
Mhm.
And then they call the bomb squad.
Yep.
And then they have a big situation, and Joe Pesci's there. The witness,
Yep.
who they're trying to protect,
Yep.
is in the room with the explosives.
Right. The federal witness they were assigned to protect. They brought him to
Yeah.
a bomb.
In fact, they're having a whole party. I know that's the joke,
Yeah.
but like, I think you do the opposite with bombs, right?
Right. You generally don't want a whole bunch of people around in case they blow up, which bombs have been known to do.
Yeah. I don't know why they couldn't defuse it, but it made for a great action scene.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet when they he pulls him into the tub underneath a bunch of bulletproof vests, and the toilet
Yeah.
goes sailing through the sky, full
Right.
of Murtaugh's poo.
Yeah, and there goes his shower, so he's going to be shitty for a while.
Yeah,
He's going to have to use the
a
downstairs sink.
shit covered bum just all day.
Yeah. And that's when they go to the diplomat's office and threaten him. Let's see. I want to talk about Riggs's romance, where he
Yeah.
screams that the woman's a shoplifter.
Where he negs
And-
the woman into going on it. He negs Rika, who is the bad guy's assistant, into going on a date with him in a scene that's supposed to be charming, but it's really just gross and harassing.
Yeah, and everything's a little extra weird because it's Mel Gibson.
Because it's
when he
it's
was
Mel, but-
when he was making the Adolf jokes and stuff, it was just like,
all right, man.
I mean, Mel.
I mean, we talked about it last episode.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, it's always going to come up a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it's whenever you go back and watch his movies, there's always a little thing like that where you're like, oh man.
So,
But yeah, that
he harasses her into going on a date. They spend the whole night together, and at the end, she ends the night dead at the bottom of the sea.
she sure does. Well, I definitely want to talk about, because they go and they fuck, and then they get attacked by yet another helicopter.
Another helicopter.
One of those big helicopter problems. And then here's the fucking craziest part: is he then just drives her home
just
like they've
drives
just
her
been on a
home.
date. They don't go to the police station.
No, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you drive immediately to the police station? It's like they did this in the
We were
last
just
one where
attacked.
Riggs and Murtaugh behave like there's no other cops. They barely investigate in the beginning when the guys break into Murtaugh's house. We never hear about it again. Riggs says, all right, but from now on we got to watch each other's backs. And they proceed to never communicate anything to the rest of the squad to the point where they all get murdered.
But like, even if they pretend like they didn't go to the police station, why would he ever just drop her off like that?
How would you take her right to her house, man?
She's involved with the bad guys.
Right. You have to assume that it's the same guys you've been harassing.
Yeah.
Whom she works for. They know where she lives.
Right. You'd call Murtaugh and like figure out a plan or something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just be like, well, I had a great time.
Right. Yeah.
See ya.
This is like time to make a phone call and be like, it's time to take another grenade to the desert. Like, you don't just drive her home and be like, well, good night.
Right.
I definitely won't get hit by a blackjack on the way to my truck. He does.
Yeah, he does. So she gets nabbed because he fucking dropped her off and didn't bring her to the police station.
I guess there's more of an excuse in this one because the bad guys have diplomatic immunity, so they technically can't really investigate them. But like, even still, they're not investigating both attacks on Murtaugh like at all.
Right, because those you technically don't know if it's them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this fucking helicopter attack, they should go to the police station. There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
At that point, they've been shot at by a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, and then Riggs gets nabbed.
Yeah.
And the bad guys, instead of just shooting him,
right,
decide to drown him for some reason.
Yeah,
decide to Houdini.
The guy's a bad assassin. We talked about.
Yeah, he is a garbage assassin.
He's a terrible assassin.
Yeah, he tries to assassinate Riggs in the one way that Riggs knows how to get out of.
Yeah, he throws him in the ocean in a straitjacket.
Yeah, and that's when he tells him that he killed his wife.
Yep.
So now his girlfriend was killed and his wife was killed, or well, not girlfriend, but
they boned.
His date.
His date.
Yeah, and so that's when he just terrasses it down the highway, calls Murtaugh, and he's like, "I'm not a cop
tonight, Roger."
Yeah, and so Murtaugh takes off his badge, which I don't think is how you can not be a cop.
Also, like, they don't really know what the bad guys are doing. They just know that Leo laundered some money for them.
Yeah, I would categorize.
I'm not even sure what the Kruger ants were for because they never really we never see them again, nor are they ever mentioned again.
I would categorize both this movie and the previous one, their investigative process, to be Rampage style.
Yes,
which is that they just sort of just have this momentum and they keep going, and then somehow it works itself out.
Yeah,
but like. They could have just as easily, like, I could see one of these movies ending with them, like, executing a mall Santa in front of kids and being like, yeah, take that, you drug dealer. And then everybody being like, who is that guy? What are you doing here? And them realizing that, like, all the threads they followed were completely nonsense. And they have just, like, killed a stranger.
Yeah, the extent of their investigations are like, where are the bad guys?
Yeah.
So that we can go shoot them.
Yeah. So Riggs tries to the bad guy's house.
He sure does. At this point, Murtaugh's almost been killed again. Like they dump Riggs in the ocean. They kill all the other rest of the squad, and they try to kill Murtaugh by ambushing him in his house. And he leaves Leo in the car.
Yeah, sure
and
does.
And then Leo gets kidnapped.
Right.
So he kills two guys with a nail gun.
Yes. That was pretty great.
And then when Riggs calls him, he's like, I'm not a cop, Raj. He also tells him that they got Leo. So, like, Riggs' plan is they go to the house that they went to before, which is a big house on stilts in the hills, and Riggs' plan is to pull it down, even though Leo's inside. Like, they're ostensibly to save Leo, but, like, he's just able to pull the house down. Leo's in there.
The oddest thing happens in this movie.
He pulls the house down a mountain.
Our hero ties his truck, a truck, to a house. And like they start it from inside the house, and you don't know that Riggs is out there. Or
Right,
what he's
you don't
doing.
know what he's doing. Like
It's like a horror movie.
He tells Roger to go around to get to the back to get Leo, and he's like, "Wait for my signal." And he's like, "What's that going to be?" He's like, "You're going to know it when you see it." So we don't know what he's doing.
And it's like the big one happened,
Right?
And
Like
it turns
I'll
out,
start shaking.
yeah, turns out that he's just yanking the entire
It's
house
just
down with
Riggs
a truck,
pulling the house down with this truck.
which I don't think that works that way.
I mean, it works like that way in this movie.
Yeah, that is a poorly built house.
Yeah, it's really, really, really terrible construction. Also, that's
'cause
really dangerous.
Oh yeah, it's he is snapped. This is him having snapped.
I mean, that house is going to continue to slide down the mountain.
And probably kill many
Kill
innocent
lots
people.
of people, man.
And
That's going
like,
to
it's
hit other houses.
Yeah, it's surprising Leo didn't die. It's surprising
Yeah,
that Riggs didn't die.
It's a miracle Murtaugh and was able to get Leo out. And yeah, it's sort
but
of
again, that house, one rainy day, that house would have gone on its own.
Oh yeah, one
'Cause-
mudslide, that house is done.
Yeah, because it's a single beam of the many stilts that he pulls on.
Yeah.
And the house is like, well, time to call it quits.
Yep. I
That's
know I
all
could
it
keep this
takes.
house game up forever.
Yeah.
I'm throwing in my house towel.
It is madness.
Yeah, it truly is.
It is. My God, that is national news. That is
You would never. That would be a legendary
Rampage
case.
cop knocks down a house, kills several families in the ensuing damage of the thing rolling
That
down
would
the
be
hill.
one of the most famous cases in Los Angeles history.
Yeah.
Like people would be talking about that for 30 years.
Yeah, if only because people would be like, "Geez, I didn't know houses could do that."
You remember when that cop snapped and pulled a house down?
Yeah. Well, that was
Pulled
something.
a house down a mountain.
The city went on lockdown because they thought there was a terrorist.
Right? Yeah, they thought it was 9/11.
Yeah,
Nope,
Like,
it's just Riggs.
just Riggs.
It's just Riggs. Quote, affecting an arrest.
Yeah. No, nothing they do is legal in this movie.
No, hell no.
Nothing they do is even remotely close. They are, again, rampage.
Yeah,
They're breaking into
full
houses, shooting
rampage
fish
mode.
tanks. Yeah, nothing. They are criminals in this movie.
Right.
Like, they are just crooked cops who are also criminals.
Right.
If the FBI investigated this, if anybody looked into this,
the
they
FBI
are
is
working
theoretically
with a criminal.
Yeah. The FBI is theoretically going to be there in a few days to take Leo to testify. So can you imagine the conversation when the FBI shows up to get their witness to testify against a bunch of guys who are now dead?
Yeah, well, Leo's going to spend a lot of time in court testifying.
Yeah, he's going to have a whole lot more to testify about now.
Yeah, because he's going to be testifying against the cops.
Yep.
Against everything. Because, oh my God, they have, just to recap, all they had to do is protect a witness.
Yeah. All you had to do was sit in a hotel and watch him.
Yep. And he is pulling a house down with a truck at this point.
With him inside.
Because they have decided to take that witness and just go play cops and robbers with the witness as the sidekick.
After tackling him out of a 7-story window and breaking his nose.
Also, I'm fairly certain Leo is in the series from here on, right?
He is, yeah.
We'll get to it, but what could he possibly be doing? Like, we'll get to it.
We'll see. That's for the other movies, man.
My God. So one thing leads to another. They end up crushing a man with a shipping container. Okay, there's a few things before that.
We have to talk about that.
Yeah.
So they so they know that the name that Riggs got from the bad guy's office is the name of a ship. They figure that out.
Right.
Because Murtaugh has it on an old tape of a birthday he spent on his boat. So they go to the ship, and luckily they just so happen to be loading it full of all of their money and contraband to set sail for South Africa right when they get there.
Right.
So if I were bad guys, in the Lethal Weapon universe, I would be scared to death of these police officers because they just run onto the ship, don't identify themselves, and just, you know,
they're vigilantes. They're Batman.
Full rampage. They get locked in that shipping container and then full of the money. And then just drive a car through the shipping container and all the money into the ocean. Like, that's how they get out of it. It's pretty dope. But that's all of the evidence. Like, the car presumably was bought to launder the money, and all that cash is presumably laundered money as well. So that's all the evidence in the ocean.
Right.
Luckily there were 2 rappelling ropes inside that shipping container, which allowed them to get back down. And then they shoot everyone on the ship. Every single person. Yep. And yes, Riggs at this point crushes a man with a several-ton shipping container. Yeah.
The part where the guy... And this is the iconic part where he shows his badge and he goes, diplomatic immunity. Mm-hmm. And he shoots him and goes, it's just been revoked.
Yep.
Yeah, I really don't think... Because here's the other thing. What if... Because Riggs knows the diplomatic immunity thing by heart.
Yeah.
And we established beginning in this world, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it isn't, and maybe they just took Riggs' word for it.
Right? Maybe they just
anybody
believed
sit
Riggs
down with the law?
yeah.
Because he's pointing that badge like he's fucking Superman. Like he's shooting at them, and then goes diplomatic immunity, and it's like I really don't think you could just shoot at cops.
He shoots
and not
Riggs.
get
He
shot
doesn't shoot
back.
at him. He shoots Riggs.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sincerely don't believe that's how it would work in this universe.
No amount of diplomatic immunity allows you to just shoot a person.
Right, but I think part of the debriefing will be them being like, so you broke into the office and shot the fish tank. Why didn't you come to us? Why didn't you contact us? You were chased by a helicopter. And be like, well, you had diplomatic immunity. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way.
What do you think diplomatic immunity means? Well, it means he comes from space, so he can't be arrested because bullets don't penetrate his skin, and he can't breathe our air, so he can't keep him in his cell for a long time. So obviously he's got this little badge that he carries around to tell him that you can't put him in jail because he's an alien from space.
Right.
Riggs,
frankly, we were very shocked we were able to kill him.
Riggs, we have to have a long talk.
Yeah, because I think they started off.
I guess Roger must have laced one of his bullets with kryptonite or something. I don't know how he managed to bring him down.
Because they established. They start the entire investigation based off of that assumption,
right?
And I really don't think they looked it up.
They just took Riggs' word for it. It just completely got the law wrong.
Yeah, they also just take Joe Pesci's word for it. They don't invest they
just drive to the house and be like, yeah, that was the house. All right, let's break in there and beat the shit out of people. We're gonna kill this guy with a surfboard.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Joe Pesci, it might just be people he doesn't like.
Right. All they saw was them putting a bunch of cash into a money counter, and that is not against the law.
No,
that is not a crime.
That's
it.
Yeah,
that's all they ever see them do.
Yeah, and that's enough. Smash cut to him pulling down his house and crushing him with a shipping container.
Crushing him with a shipping container.
Good God. Good God. What a film.
Sergeant Riggs, it says here that we were not able to question the suspect because you dropped a 4-ton shipping container on his head. Well, not his head. His whole body is under there.
His whole body.
Okay.
He is a fine mush now.
Yeah. He's completely dead.
You cannot identify
that
him.
Man
we don't even know who he is.
Liquid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they have no idea who he is. I don't think he ever gets that guy's name.
I don't know. They grab their badges at one point at the beginning and look at their names.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he remembered those names.
Yeah, he said, I'm just going to call you Adolf. All right, man.
He did. Yeah, and later they're going to be like, what's the bad guy? Well, who was this man? Like, I don't know. I was just calling him Adolf.
I was calling him Adolf.
Like, you were calling him Adolf?
Oh, was he German?
Yeah,
oh, no, he was Dutch. He's from South Africa. Okay.
It doesn't make any sense. What a rampage.
It's quite a ramp. He puts on his little Rampage hat, his Rampage baseball cap.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my gosh.
everything about this movie is them misunderstanding a lot of things
They just
and
go
going
on a
on wild
rampage,
rampages.
carving
and
their way
not-
through this entire South African consulate.
Right, while completely failing to protect anybody.
Nope.
They don't protect Leo. They don't protect Riggs's the woman from the
Rika. Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah, her name's Rika. They don't protect their
they don't-
squad.
Nope. Everybody there was just like, wait here. We're gonna go fucking fight this bad guy. We come back. Oh no!
Oh, he's dead, or they kidnapped
No,
Leo.
they're
Oh,
gone.
no.
Oh, my goodness.
gosh. And what? Again, I want to stress now that we've sort of reached. I feel like we're reaching the end here. Murtaugh is in charge of all of this.
Right. I see what you mean in the sense. See, all right. This, I think, what I would argue is that, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the first one, is that this is a dystopian world. That's the only way it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the Judge Dredd universe.
Yes. It is the same universe as Judge Dredd. Because the problems we're seeing go all the way to the top. Because this is like, they treat this rampage the same way you would a cop who maybe uses foul language too much.
Yeah.
Like it's that. It's like, you better watch it. You gotta change. But he is murdering people. And there's just, he's leaving behind a fucking trail of lawsuits. This whole fucking movie. It is something. So it just, you have to assume this is a world where cops just act like this.
Yes.
And they're like the hero cops because they're the most wild.
They're the stars that shine the brightest as they go into supernova.
Yeah. People in this universe, people live in fear of the sound of sirens.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, people do in our universe as well.
This is very true. Yeah. I mean, you could argue then that this is like a satire on police work, but without the actual satire.
You could argue if it had any kind of self-awareness about that at all, and it does not.
I wouldn't say it's even the time this movie existed, like it was a different time or anything.
I mean, the 80s was a different time.
Well, I mean, yes, but like what I'm saying is that it seems like this is a bit much even for them.
I don't know.
It's Hobbs and Shaw. It's that you watch this movie, and I assume people watched it the same way we watch Hobbs and Shaw, which is like, he pulled a whole fucking house down. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't think there was ever a time where we saw this movie and thought that's what police work looks like.
No, I don't think.
You know what I mean?
No, but I think it was taken seriously as an action movie. Like, people didn't watch this movie ironically.
Well, yeah, but I didn't watch it ironically now as an action, in terms of action, I guess. Because the action's good. And the same with Hobbs and Shaw, which is that, like, the action is good, but it's still over the top. And I think people were laughing, when they're watching this movie for the first time in theaters. I think it was the same reaction. I mean, old people, weigh in on this.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, old people.
Old people who were our age when this movie came out. I'd love to know, because I can't imagine that people saw this as anything. Like, I can't imagine when they found out that the guy killed Riggs's wife, people were like gasping or anything, like I'm sure people were really into this series, and still are, but I don't think, I just can't imagine it, like, people took it seriously in terms of the plot, in terms of the believability of the action. Like, it's so over the top.
I mean, it's not Commando.
No, it's not Commando. Commando is absolutely that. But I mean, I feel like we never, I don't know. It feels self-aware enough at the point that they're like clearly bad cops.
Yeah.
They can't be interpreted any other way.
No, there's no other way to look at these guys and be like, oh yeah, this is police work.
Yeah, they're a real problem.
Yeah.
I would say the thing that's changed in time is like they're more sinister to me now.
Yeah.
Looking like it's more insidious what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
It's
It
darker.
doesn't. Yeah. It's not as charming.
Yeah.
To look at
for
them and
sure.
be like, oh, these guys are out of control.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's the end of my notes. That's the end of my
Oh yeah, that's the end of
my
mine.
my worst cops
I'm
thoughts.
I'm really excited to dig into the next ones because this
Lethal
I've
Weapon
seen all the
3.
Lethal Weapons, but this is like I think the last one I remember.
Oh, okay, great. You're in for you're in for a treat.
I know there's
with the next two.
I know there's like a car chase with like a house
That's in 4.
car.
That's in 4.
That's in 4,
Mhm.
and Chris Rock's there.
That's
it
in
feels like
4.
a dream I had.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm very excited to get through these. We got 2 more, right? It's just the 4. They didn't make any more.
No.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess that's it.
Yeah,
Everybody,
I think
thanks
that's
for
it.
listening.
Yeah. We're halfway there. We're halfway through the series.
Thanks to John Ryman for making it
Yeah.
all happen. If you guys want to commission your own podcast,
Mhm.
or if you're just interested, you should check out our Patreon.
Mhm.
Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed.
Yep,
We
yep.
have some exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac.
That's true.
And then we have a bunch of tiers where you can do stuff like request special episodes of We Just Watched or exclusive podcasts like this.
Yeah.
So go there. Take a gander.
Also, we got a store, tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed, where you can get some righteous new designs we're adding,
Yeah.
including a Tommy Lee Jones one that I'm very excited about.
I know. That's going to be amazing.
They're the best. So yeah, check it out. Get all kinds of merch.
Yeah.
Help me feed my family.
Yeah. Help me feed my, I don't know, cat?
Yeah, a cat. A cat needs to eat.
Yeah.
She needs to eat sometimes.
Yeah, we do. That's true. That's fair.
Well, all right.
All right. All right. Take it easy, everybody.
That's it. Play us out, Eric Clapton.
Play us out.